We have reached this conclusion. Profits from Nigerian oil was partly cashed in by the state. But some of these oil concessions were given to private companies, namely Atlantic Energy and Seven Energy. In so doing, the money that the state was to receive ended up in private hands. These agreements are unconstitutional and illegal. The billions of Kola Aluko. I tried a couple of times to call the Aluko family, but I wasn't able to talk to them. So I thought I'd better come myself because I'd like to interview Mr. Aluko. Can you tell me if he is at home? No, he isn't. Anyway, I can ask. It's still winter time when I started looking for Kola Aluko, the oil entrepreneur wanted by the Nigerian and British magistrates, accused of having smuggled and laundered the profits of oil wells of his country, together with the Minister of Oil, Dizani. But Kola Aluko has lived for 2 years now in Porza, in this luxury villa overlooking Lake Lugano. In Switzerland, there is no legal actions against him. I've asked someone, and I was answered that he is not giving interviews now. This person will tell the other ones in charge. Should we come back by then? Try some other time. Doesn't he have some sort of secretarial office? It is not handled here. That is the point. But where? I can tell you, but not here. And it's not easy to find, let's put it that way. Dozens of offshore companies, a typical jet-set life, faithful friend of Hollywood stars, a yacht in the Caribbean, villas and apartments between Los Angeles and New York, and a passion for racing cars. Here he is with his racing outfit, a dream come true, thanks to the Kessel team in Granzia, for which he raced on important international tracks. But he does not only drive Ferraris, he collects them. In the Kessel garage in Lugano, he might have a dozen, even Formula One cars, for a value of many millions in francs. But even here, mouths are sewn up. Excuse me? I'm curious. How much does such a Ferrari cost? This one is new and cost 1,200,000 euro. And how much does a Formula One cost? From 1 million to 4 million euro. We are proud to announce that our company has considerably increased the flight hours. This was made possible also thanks to the commitment of our new partner, Mr. Kola Aluko. It is 2012 when a first investment by the billionaire became known. In a Swiss company. With 60 crafts and stops in all the countries worldwide, VisaJet is the biggest private fleet in the world. At the airport where I was looking for information about the entrepreneur, I was confirmed that he lands regularly with the VisaJet flights. The legal head office of this airline company for years has been this anonymous building. But when I arrived, I found out that the company just took flight to settle in the island of Malta. So even here, no trace of Kola Aluko. The big plus of VistaJet is the ability to focus on the needs of the various regions, the fact that they had experience in the Middle East and Malaysia, along with the ability to offer customized services. For Nigeria, it is the same thing.
For Nigeria, it's exactly the same thing. For example,
the core business of this billionaire entrepreneur is oil. To him and some of his partners, one can trace two Nigerian companies, Seven Energy and Atlantic Energy. The second, besides in Nigeria, has a branch in Zurich, Switzerland. Good morning. We are looking for Atlantic Energy. I have no idea what it is. Is it the one here below? It's on the 4th floor. Have you ever seen anyone? No, we have nothing to do with them. It's this one, right? Ever since I've been here, this floor has been empty. This is the Zurich-based branch of Atlantic Energy. No desk, no computer, nothing that leads to suppose that someone is working here. An entire floor of a luxurious building on the Zurich Lake, whose rental surely costs tens of millions of francs a month, is empty. Atlantic Energy. Does it still exist? Did you try looking inside? Is there furniture? No, there isn't any. When did they leave? Actually, since I work here, I've never seen anyone. How long have their offices been here? For a year. They've had their branch here for a year, and they are never here. Atlantic Energy, there. You're looking for them, right? We sometimes saw someone parking. They were Africans. They came and left quickly, but officially, they never actually moved. Despite the fact that the offices are in Zurich, Atlantic Energy is signed up in the Zugo Commercial Registry. It is officially being closed, and Aluko is not in the list of shareholders. As a person in charge, we found another manager, Oscar Mbeshi. I decided to look for him at his home. I'm looking for Mr. Mbeshi. I don't know him. I live over there. But when I arrive, I can hardly believe what I see. The president of the board of directors of Atlantic Energy, a billionaire company, lives in this modest apartment on the outskirts. Nobody is in here. All right, let's move. May I ask you something? Do you know the Mbeshi family? Never heard of them.
Ja, ist gut. Merci vielmals. Ade.
morning. I'm looking for 7 Energy.
Buongiorno. Cerco 7
Good morning.
Energy.
I am looking for 7 Energy. I am from Swiss Television. I'd like to know if I can meet someone from 7 Energy.
Qualcuno di 7
Is this the
Energy.
headquarters of 7? I am at the right
Ma
place.
questa è
Are
la
these
sede di
7's
7.
headquarters?
Sono al posto
Am I in the
giusto,
right
vero?
place? Can you at least give me Mr. Kola Aluko's number?
Signor Kola Aluko.
I can reach Mr. Kola Aluko. Kola Aluko.
I have no number. I don't know.
È a Londra.
The 7 Energy home office is in London. The other oil company bringing to the entrepreneur and his partners what should be the international branch of a company with a billionaire budget is no more than a small office on the 4th floor Victorian building. The only person there is the secretary. Much to my surprise, she never heard of Kola Aluko. Aluko even inaugurated a charity foundation in his name in London.
Ha anche inaugurato una fondazione benefica che porta il suo nome. Nel tentativo di trovarlo,
In the attempt to find it, I reached by phone a former advisor of this foundation. On those 2 times, I met Mr. Aluko. I saw a person who told me, I want to do it because I am a Nigerian and I want to give back my fortune, part of my personal fortune, to Nigeria for youngsters who are in need. This was the real and noble objective of this project. I don't really know what was behind it. Even this person lost traces of Kola Aluko. As I found out from this call, the Ghost Foundation, with legal office in Liechtenstein, went out like a meteor right from the start, without ever giving one single pound in charity. What types of problems were there? Did the foundation only last for a single year? I think what happened is that the foundation had some sort of inauguration in London. Then I think there was a moment of blackout due to the change of government and the scandal that took place with giving oil concessions to Nigeria. Before 2010, Kola Aluko was a low-profile person, and with a touch of a magic wand, he then turned into a high-level oil magnate, thanks to contracts made with 7 Energy and Atlantic Energy.
7 Energy and Atlantic Energy.
Hi, Dotto. I'm really
nel centro di
In
Londra,
downtown London, I met the Nigerian anti-corruption activist who, for various non-government organizations, had carried out meticulous research on this matter.
è stata una sua
His
denuncia
report
alla
to the
Procura
United
del
Kingdom
Regno Unito,
DA office
che ha fatto
had the
puntare i
spotlights of the
riflettori
press
della stampa
turned to
internazionale
what is considered one of the
su questo,
greatest
che è
laundering
ritenuto
cases
uno dei
of the
casi
world.
di riciclaggio più grossi al mondo.
7 Energy was used as a vehicle.
7 Energy was used to move big amounts of money.
Movement of
The changeover into private hands of profits that were to give to the state. This type of diversion of funds could not have taken place without the complicity of high-level government officials.
high-level government officials.
È dunque ben evidente che Kola Aluko è solo un prestanome. Aluko si presenta
So what
quale
is quite evident is that
proprietario
Kola
di una
Aluko
società di cui
is a
in
dummy,
realtà non è né
but he is neither the
proprietario né
owner
beneficiario.
nor the beneficiary of the company.
L'attivista
The
londinese
London
mi parla
activist
di
tells
una vera
me
e
about
propria
the real
frode
fraud
che
that
avrebbe
began to
preso
take
avvio
place
intorno al
around 2010,
2010,
when the
quando la
Nigerian
compagnia
state oil
petrolifera
company
statale
granted its
nigeriana
license to
inizia
some
a
oil
cedere le
fields
licenze
to
di
private
alcuni
companies.
giacimenti di greggio a delle
The
società
lots all
private.
go without any tender to 7
Vanno
Energy
tutti
and
quanti senza
Atlantic
alcuna
Energy,
gara d'appalto
both
a
related
7
to
Energy
Kola
e
Aluko.
Atlantic Energy,
The reason for this choice
riferibili
remains a
Kola
mystery.
Aluko. Il motivo di questa scelta resta un mistero.
Atlantic Energy was not performing any function.
At the time when Atlantic Energy was given the license, the company carried out no activity and was only 2 months old. In much the same way, Seven Energy was a front company, totally void of a clear financial past. Apart from that, it must be said that these companies had not paid anything for those licenses. The money coming from oil profits were to go into the state treasury, but all this money was simply smuggled elsewhere, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds and millions of dollars.
There are 3 legal opinions which confirm that these agreements are unconstitutional and illegal. It was 2014 when the case exploded in Nigeria. In the live TV program, the governor of the central bank reported $20 billion missing from the state treasury. And he points the spotlight to the illegitimate agreements between the state oil company and the 2 other companies. The accusations are a blow right at the oil minister.
Again, I want to stress that there are different views.
There are different interpretations of the legality of these things.
Has deduction of subsidy at source as a first-line charge.
The Minister of Oil at the time was
At the time, the oil minister was a woman, Diezani Alison Maduke, who is now undergoing an investigation here in the United Kingdom for the diversion of funds through oil agreements, along with a series of other accusations.
Strategic alliance.
Kola
Aluko is considered the dummy of the minister and of some high-ranking government executives, including possibly Jonathan, former Nigerian president, are involved.
Including possibly Jonathan, the former president.
When I returned to Lugano, I took a good look at the situation. The dynamics of this matter are appallingly banal. The minister and her dummy would be the accomplices in smuggling the profit of billions coming from oil wells. As a matter of fact, the Nigerian oil company, controlled by the minister, grants 8 licenses to 7 in Atlantic. The money for the oil extraction, which in the past would go to the state treasury, now disappears in the safes of the 2 companies. Billions properly laundered in our country too. I am a journalist from RSI. I have been waiting for weeks for the mayor to call me back. This is where Aluko resides and pay taxes. I have lost hope. I decided to personally go to town hall, which is a few steps away from the oil magnate's villa. The mayor is not there, but they have me talk to him on the phone. I don't know to what extent you are informed on this matter. It doesn't involve you personally, but it involves your municipality. Also because I believe this person. You are telling me that you must respect privacy and that you're not interested in what is going on. We are talking about billions being laundered. I'm talking about billions of dollars. You, as a municipal authority, are not interested. All right, I can only acknowledge the fact that you are not interested, and I thank you.
A voi come autorità comunale la cosa non interessa. Va bene, allora io non posso che prendere atto che voi non siete interessati e la ringrazio.
We don't have to go to 360 degrees. Now it's time we go the 180.
I want to see the impact of corruption on people's lives with my own eyes. See what it means to live in one of the world's most corrupted countries. that for years was systematically plundered, where the luxury of the buildings of those corrupted shadows the hungers of millions of people. It is not my first trip to Africa, but the impact is devastating. On paper, according to what economists say, Nigeria, because of its oil fields, is the richest country of Africa. And yet, 120 million people, equal to 70% of the population, live here with less than $2 a day. I cannot believe that in a country reduced to famine, nobody is interested in Kola Aluko's billions. Corruption makes people poorer, makes each Nigerian poorer. It takes access to electricity away. It is hard to put a meal together. Nigeria actually had to increase its gas prices. The population has suffered greatly and continues to do so, even now that I am here talking to you. What do the ordinary people think of the former minister, Diazani, and her frontman, Kola Aluko? They are seen as vultures of public assets, people who have stolen the resources and money of the country, damaging millions of Nigerians to go and have the good life abroad. They see them as non-patriotic people, as people who get rich exploiting others who live in extreme poverty.
In the midst of huge poverty in the country. The oil sector will be more corrupt. People now see as an avenue.
The oil sector is the most corrupted. It is seen as a road to make easy money. It is the highest paid work in Nigeria. There have been salaries that went beyond the average level globally. Even some ministers and parliament members uses this road to grab the oil wells and do business themselves or pass it on to their friends. A person can become as rich as a state while damaging millions of Nigerians.
Millions of Nigerians.
I wanted to go south, in the delta of the Niger River, where there are the oil wells of the companies leading to Kola Aluko. But it is impossible. During my stay, a series of attacks hit some pipelines. But then, it is in the capital city that power is concentrated. This appalling case of fraud and recycling begins here. A little over a year ago, a new executive group has taken over, elected with the objective of fighting corruption. The new president is determined to recuperate these billions of dollars smuggled by Kola Aluko and his partners. Mr. Aluko and other people and companies, presumably fund companies, were accused of laundering, illicit diversion of public funds, and economical crimes against Nigeria. This is what is written in an injunction that freezes the assets, and that these assets were acquired or obtained with state money. In fact, while I was here, the Nigerian National Court issued a freezing order for Kola Aluko's assets and those of Atlantic Energy spread out throughout the world, from the United States to Great Britain and Switzerland, for $1.7 billion. In the list, as far as our country is concerned, there are dozens of accounts in 4 Swiss credit institutes for over 67 million francs. 58 luxury cars, 3 private planes, and a land area of over 2,000 square meters at Montanola in Ticino. This is a court measure recognized by the entire world. It is an asset freezing injunction. It deals with assets in Nigeria and abroad, meaning even assets in Switzerland, wherever they may be, including those in Montanola. As far as Kola Aluko is concerned, we expect cooperation in the restitution of assets taken and brought to Switzerland. We ask for restitution of investments Aluko made in Switzerland. I must admit that Switzerland was very cooperative, but we want to see more cooperation in the unconditioned restitution of assets. Good morning. I am calling you because we had talked about Mr. Kola Aluko having acquired your land. From Nigeria, I immediately called the mayor of Colina Fioro. I want to know if they intended to do something after the confiscation request of the Montanola land. You haven't been informed yet. It was in all the newspapers. Did you discuss it at the Town Hall Council? You know nothing about it. It is an important matter, in the sense that when the assets are confiscated, even in Switzerland, busy with Alp Transit. All right.
Okay. Vabbè.
One of the problems is that we are often given the bill by Western countries for the restitution of assets. They say it has costs. Sometimes we feel offended because they ask us for 20% or more.
Or even more. And this has been proven by
As confirmed by a report of the World Bank, only a small part of assets smuggled returns to the country of origin, because the developed countries use any excuse to keep the money. They have conferences and take all the right resolutions, but never act in a positive sense. I think it is time to change.
Penso che sia ora di cambiare rotta.
When the fight against corruption was to be faced, the international community did nothing for a long time. The international community must facilitate the return of smuggled assets. We estimated that illicit activity in the oil sector makes us lose $7 billion a year. It is May 10, 2016, when in London, the Nigeria president attends the International Summit on Corruption. From the convention, once again, many declarations of intent were manifested. Among the guests, even Didier Buchholter, Swiss foreign minister. But if the money keeps arriving to us anyway, and it does, we must do everything we can so that this money be returned to its illegitimate owners, to the people of poor countries. What will the financial system of the developed markets do to assist Nigeria in trying to recuperate those billions, but also to make sure that this will not be repeated in the future? Alongside the London summit, I met an analyst who studied in detail the corruption impact on Nigerian economy. He believed there is much hypocrisy in the Western financial sector. Reduction of corruption would increase by the year 2030, the average NGP to $2,000 per inhabitant. I think the most important question is, what has been the role of the international financial system in this matter? It is difficult to smuggle capital by oneself. If someone wants to have money in Switzerland, he or she needs financial partners who make this transfer easy. And unfortunately, I believe, as we go deep into the matter, there were too many so-called developed world partners willing to facilitate these transfers without the necessary verification.
But it appeared to me that there was no
It seems that there is no political will in the Western world to investigate on financial mediators that cooperated with Seven Energy. There is a World Bank agency. There is a fund financed by almost all European cooperation agencies that had the duty of verifying that they were investing in fair commercial operations.
That they are engaging in bona fide businesses. So questions have to be
There are serious doubts on all these international investors who invested in Seven Energy. What did they do to ascertain that Seven Energy has acquired those contracts correctly?
Acquired those assets.
I turned these serious doubts to the agencies that invested in Seven, but never received an answer. But then, even those Swiss banks named in confiscation order did not express themselves, nor did FINMA, the Swiss control institution. Thus, I will never know how many millions, or better yet, billions, were presumably laundered in Switzerland by Kola Aluko. Good morning. I'm looking for a land area of about 2,000 square meters. It must have been sold here, in Montagnola, to a Nigerian oil magnate. Can you tell me approximately where it is?
Mi sapete dire quale potrebbe essere, grosso modo? A Montagnola.
Good thing there are people who have money to spend, people who buy and sell. They said it's enormous and not far from the American school. No, further up.
No, più su.
It's summertime. When I managed to locate the land Aluko bought, over 2,000 square meters of building overlooking the Lake Lugano, who knows how many other investments were made, undisturbed, in our country. Despite an international rogatory was issued in Bern against the oil magnate in Switzerland, no legal procedure, in July, the villa in Porza was abandoned. There are no more traces of Kola Aluko, nor of his billions.
Al momento di Kola Aluko si sono perse le tracce e anche dei suoi miliardi.
It is clear that he must give answers. If he can defend himself, okay, but if he can't, law will follow its course and do justice. Part of that money could have financed schooling for thousands of Nigerians from elementary school to middle school without them spending 1 cent. A first-class hospital could have been built in every federal state of Nigeria. We could have built about 1,000 kilometers of roads. Now, we want facts. You must unconditionally return all assets and help Nigeria come out of poverty.